My parents begged me to cover my sister's $60,000 college tuition. I was about to agree until I saw pictures of their brand new kitchen, their trip to France, and a shiny new SUV. I still paid the tuition, but the way I did it left them furious and completely exposed. You know, they say you can outrun your past. Build an empire, live 40 floors above the city. Surround yourself with gleaming glass and promise. And for a long time, I almost believed it. Then, one single ding on my laptop sent a cold shockwave through my entire world. It was an email from Mom. The subject line, Lila's graduate school, family support needed. And just like that, the air went out of my perfectly designed Seattle office. I clicked it open. Because I always did, always hoping, always fearing. Priscilla darling, it began. Wonderful news. Lila has been accepted to Woodward University's psychology program. We're all so proud. The tuition is $60,000 for the first year, and we're hoping you'll contribute since you're doing so well with your company. Love you bunches. Mom. Attached was a photo. Mom, Dad, and Lila, arms linked, champagne glasses raised. Their faces glowed with pure, unadulterated celebration. I wasn't in the picture. I wasn't even invited. My hands started to tremble as I zoomed in. They were right there, in front of the fireplace Dad built when I was 12. The mantel still held the same old family photos, a silent, damning timeline, where I was always behind the camera, never in front of it. The office blurred as a sharp, familiar memory pulled me backward. I was 16, stuck in Boise, Idaho, where the summer heat bakes the pavement and dreams go to suffocate. For months, I'd scrimped every single dollar from my Target cashier job, planning the smallest, most perfect birthday celebration. Dinner at Alfredo's, the only Italian place that wasn't a chain. Nothing fancy, just pasta with my family. The morning of, Mom called me into the kitchen. She had that look, you know? Mouth pinched at the corners, eyebrows raised in an apology that never quite reached her eyes. Lila's got a cold. Honey, we'll celebrate another time. I nodded, because I always did. Is it bad? I asked. Just a little fever. Nothing serious, but you know how these things go. Your father and I need to stay home with her. Father. That night, I ate a grocery store cupcake alone in my bedroom, a single candle melting into a waxy puddle. Later, out of some twisted, self-punishing habit, I checked Facebook. There it was. Mom's post. Family night. Taking care of our little one. Family means everything. No mention of my birthday. No mention of me. I swallowed the bitter memory, minimizing the email. My office suddenly felt too bright, too exposed. All through high school, I juggled part-time jobs and straight A's. When Mom's car died, I paid the repair. When Dad lost his job for 3 months, I covered their insurance. Lila needed dance lessons, special shoes, summer camp. I sent money, no questions asked. You're the responsible one, Mom would always say. You don't need the attention Lila does. And I believed her. Because children, you know, they trust their parents to tell them the truth about who they are. Even in college, I sent money home. Every semester, I'd budget down to the last penny funds for textbooks, ramen, and my monthly family contribution. They called it giving back. I called it earning love. My graduation day at Stanford? That stands out like a bruise that never quite healed. 3. Empty seats in the front row, marked with reserved signs I'd placed there myself. My phone buzzed 10 minutes before I walked across the stage. Sorry, sweetie. Lila had a piano competition. You're strong, you'll understand. My eyes were dry, but my soul felt scorched. Professor Winters found me after the ceremony, straightening the tassel on my cap. Your family couldn't make it, she asked softly. Something came up. The words tasted like metal. They're lost, she said, squeezing my shoulder. I'm proud of you. I thanked her, my voice steady, because after years of practice, it never cracked anymore. The Seattle sky had darkened while I was lost in that endless loop of memories. Lights flickered on across the city, tiny constellations of other people's lives. I closed my laptop, not bothering to respond to Mom's email. On my desk sat a single framed photo, my graduation day. If you looked closely, you could see those empty chairs. I'd kept it as a reminder, though, of what I'd never been sure. Until now. I traced a finger across the glass, connecting dots that had always been there, waiting for me to acknowledge the pattern. When I needed them, where were they? The words fell into my empty office, quiet but firm. Rain began to tap against my window, Seattle's constant companion. I pressed my palm against the glass, feeling the vibration. Something shifted inside me, not a dramatic break, but a subtle realignment, like a bone setting after years of healing wrong. This time would be different. The next morning, my phone buzzed against the desk, a neon sign at midnight. Another notification. I didn't even need to look to know who it was from. A quick glance confirmed it. Eleanor's latest Facebook post. There they stood, Mom, Dad, and Lila posed in front of a renovated kitchen. Granite countertops gleamed under pendant lights I'd never seen before. Mom's caption read, "Kitchen dreams finally come true. Blessed. Home sweet home." My blood ran cold, then boiled. The timestamp? Yesterday. The same day she'd asked me for $60,000. I set my coffee down with too much force. Liquid sloshed over the edge, forming a small puddle on my glass desk. I didn't wipe it away. My fingers moved on their own, scrolling through her timeline. 2 months ago, Robert surprised me with an anniversary trip to France. 28 years. With my best friend. Photos of the Eiffel Tower, champagne, pastries I couldn't even pronounce. 6 months ago, new wheels for the family. God provides. Dad leaning against a midnight blue SUV, grinning like he'd won the lottery. My breath quickened. During my senior year at Stanford, Mom called weekly about their struggling finances. Just a little help with the mortgage, Prissy. Times are tough for everyone. I sent them $800 every single month while eating ramen and working 2 campus jobs. I clicked on Lila's profile next, something I rarely allowed myself to do. Her life unfolded. In filtered squares, dance recitals, piano competitions, hiking trips with friends. All the experiences I'd funded through high school and beyond. 3 photos down, I froze. Lila and Mom, arms around each other, standing in front of a beach house. The caption, "Thanks Grandma Wallace for the best gift ever. Your inheritance made this vacation possible. Blessed. Family time. Inheritance." The word pounded in my head like a hammer. No one told me about an inheritance. My hands trembled as I opened my laptop and pulled up the spreadsheet I'd maintained since high school. Every contribution, every dollar sent home, meticulously documented, a scrolling testament to my desperation for approval. The total stared back at me, $32,417.86 over 8 years. I felt sick to my stomach. The phone rang. Aunt Martha. I almost declined, but something pulled my finger to the green button. "Priscilla? You there?" Her voice sounded older than I remembered. "Hi, Aunt Martha." "Yes, I'm here. Listen, I don't have much time. Your mother's on the warpath. She's telling everyone. You've abandoned your family responsibilities." My jaw tightened. "What?" "There's a family gathering next Saturday. They're planning to discuss your..." She paused, lowering her voice. "Selfishness." Those are Eleanor's words, not mine. I just got the email about Lila's tuition yesterday. And you haven't answered yet? That's why she's upset. She expected you'd say yes immediately, like always. Something cold and hard formed in my chest. "I see. If you don't help with Lila's school, they're saying you'll be cut off. For real this time." I almost laughed. Cut off from what exactly? Birthday cards with no personal message? Christmas calls that last exactly 7 minutes? Thanks for the warning, Aunt Martha. After we hung up, 3 text notifications popped up from cousins I rarely spoke with. Each Message carried the same subtext. Why aren't you helping your family? I closed my eyes, letting the rage wash through me rather than fighting it. When I opened them again, I stood and walked to the file cabinet in the corner of my home office. Inside the bottom drawer, tucked beneath tax documents, sat a small wooden box. I lifted the lid. Birthday cards from ages 8 through 21. Everyone signed, "Love, Mom and Dad." No personal message. No acknowledgement of my interests or accomplishments. Beneath the cards lay bank statements. Each highlighted withdrawal. Represented money sent home. Each one a futile attempt to buy what should have been freely given. I sat on the floor, surrounded by paper evidence of emotional neglect. A strange calm settled over me. I've been buying love that was never for sale. The words fell into my empty apartment. Sudden and true. I gathered the papers, placed them back in the box, and shut the lid firmly. For the first time, I saw the pattern clearly. I always say yes. They always take. Nothing changes. My laptop pinged. Marcus, my business partner. Priscilla, you okay? You missed our 9 a.m. Not like you. Call if you need anything. I checked the time. 10:15. I'd lost an hour to this excavation of the past. I typed back, family stuff. Can we talk? Lunch. His response came immediately. Trattoria at 12. I'll clear my afternoon if needed. Something loosened in my chest. Here was a relationship based on mutual respect. On seeing me, I opened another browser tab and searched graduate school tuition payment options. Articles about tax-exempt gifts directly to educational institutions filled my screen. I began to read, making notes as I went. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah, my closest friend from Stanford. Aunt Caroline said your mom's upset about money. What's happening? I stared at the words. Aunt Caroline. My mother's older sister who lives 2,000 miles away. Somehow, this had already traveled that far. I typed back, Mom wants me to pay $60,000 for Lila's graduate school. Sarah's response was immediate. And you said no? Finally. What they do isn't normal, Pri. Not normal. Those two words hit me like a dam breaking. The validation sent a warm current through me. My next steps formed with surprising clarity. No more automatic yes. I opened my contacts and scrolled to Lila's number. We texted occasionally, strained communications full of surface details and mutual avoidance of deeper truths. I typed carefully, "Hey Lila, can you send me your tuition details and student ID? I'm considering a gift." Send. I waited, watching the bubble that showed she's typing appear and disappear 3 times before her response came through. Really? That would be amazing. Mom said you might help. Of course, Mom already told her I'd help. Of course. The next text contained Lila's student ID and a link to Woodward University's payment portal. I saved both. My phone rang almost immediately. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then Dad called. Then Mom again. The voicemail notification appeared. I pressed play. Priscilla Elizabeth. Bentley, how dare you go behind our backs to talk to your sister about money? We are a family. And families discuss these things together. Call me back immediately. My finger hovered over the delete button, but instead, I saved the message. Documentation. Evidence. The beginnings of a strategy. When the phone rang a 4th time, I answered. Priscilla, what are you doing? Mom's voice was tight with barely controlled fury. Hello, Mom. I kept my voice even controlled. I'm handling this my way this time. A pause. What does that mean? It means I'll be in touch. I ended the call before she could respond. For the first time in my adult life, I'd said no without saying the word. My hands shook, but my mind was clear. I packed up my laptop to meet Marcus. He'd help me see this objectively, without the fog of guilt and obligation. Later, I'd call Dr. Wilson, the therapist I started seeing after my company's first million. She'd been gently suggesting I examine my family dynamics for months. As I locked my apartment door, my phone Buzzed with another text from Lila. Mom's really upset. What did you say to her? I typed back. I said I'm handling things my way this time. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally. Oh. Okay. Thanks again for considering helping with school. I stepped into the elevator, breathing deeply as the doors closed. The air felt different somehow. Lighter. As if by changing the script, I'd altered the very atmosphere around me. The boundaries of a new world were taking shape. One where I am not defined by what I give, but by what I choose. The next morning, my phone buzzed against the desk. Another notification. I didn't need to look to know it was from my family. A quick glance confirmed it, Eleanor's latest Facebook post. Sad when success changes a person's heart toward family. Some people forget who was there when they had nothing. The comment section filled with sympathetic replies. Aunt Jeanette, some folks just get too big for their britches. Uncle Paul, family should always come first. Distant relatives I hadn't seen in 15 years were suddenly experts on my character. I set the phone face down, but the screen lit up again. Robert calling. 5th time today. I silenced it, watching his name fade to black. My assistant, Marcus, appeared in the doorway, his expression guarded. Your father left. Another message with reception. Said it was urgent about your mother's health. Was he crying this time, or just using his disappointed voice? Marcus hesitated. Neither. He sounded practiced. He raised an eyebrow. Want me to block the front desk calls? I nodded, grateful for his understanding without needing explanation. An email arrived from Aunt Martha with the subject. Line, urgent. Family discussion about you. I opened it and found myself copied on a family thread I was never meant to see. Eleanor, we need to discuss Priscilla's selfishness as a family. She's abandoning her responsibilities to Lila. Robert, after everything we've done for her, I'm deeply disappointed. Cousin Jennifer, has anyone tried guilt? That always worked on her before. My stomach clenched, not from the content, but from the casual cruelty of it. The accidental copy revealed what I'd always suspected, family meetings about me. Strategies for manipulation. The blueprint of my entire childhood exposed in black and white. The phone buzzed again. Lila this time. I answered. Lila. Her voice sounded small. Uncertain. Mom's really upset. She's been crying all morning. Is she beside you now? I asked, knowing the answer. A pause. No, but she asked you to call. She's just worried about tuition deadlines, Lila whispered. Can't you just help us out like you always do? The familiar weight settled on my shoulders. The responsibility, the guilt, the expectation. But something felt different now. The weight didn't crush me. It strengthened me. I'm helping you out, Lila. Not them. After we hung up, Aunt Martha called. Her voice carried none of the judgment from the email. Chain. They're turning everyone against you, Priscilla. I just thought you should know. That evening, I researched options. IRS Section 2503, the educational payments made directly to institutions are exempt from gift tax. No money passing through my parents' hands. No opportunity for redirection. I called my financial advisor the next morning. Smart move, he said after I explained. Direct educational gifts protect both the giver and recipient. I created folders on my computer, family financial history, tuition documentation, communication records. Each interaction cataloged. Each manipulation preserved. The system felt like armor. At lunch, I called Woodward University's financial office directly. Yes, we can certainly arrange direct payment with a specific designation, the administrator explained. Many families prefer this method. Back at my office, I stared out at the Seattle skyline, the same view that witnessed my initial shock now reflecting a new resolution. My success gives me options they don't control. The phone rang, Eleanor. I answered on speaker, setting my recording app to capture the call. After the legal notification beep. This call is being recorded, I stated. What? Why would You. Eleanor's voice shifted instantly from accusation to hurt. Priscilla, honey, why are you doing this to us? After everything we sacrificed for you. Robert's voice joined in. We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us. What specifically did you sacrifice for me? My voice remained steady. My 16th birthday. Party that was canceled for Lila's cold? My high school graduation you missed for her recital? Or maybe my college graduation where I saved seats in the front row and you never showed. The silence stretched across 3,000 miles. That's not fair, Eleanor finally said, her voice dropping into the wounded mother tone I'd heard since childhood. You know your sister needed us more. I needed you too. You're breaking your father's heart, Eleanor said, tears evident in her trembling voice. Is that what you want? A month ago, those words would have shattered my resolve. Now they strengthened it. I can love you without being manipulated by you, I said quietly. I'll help with Lila's education, but on my terms. After I hung up, Marcus brought me coffee. Your mother called since she wanted to come by. I told her you were in meetings all day. Did she believe you? Doesn't matter. I wouldn't let her pass reception if she came back with a SWAT team. Sarah texted, offering her guest room for the weekend. Distance helps clarity, she wrote. My therapist emailed techniques for maintaining boundaries during conflict. A colleague stopped by my office to share her own family estrangement story, making me feel less alone. That night, Lila sent the university payment portal information. Mom wanted me to ask for a check instead, she admitted. They said the money could help with more than just tuition. What? Do you mean? Her response took almost 10 minutes. They want to finish the kitchen renovation. They said you wouldn't know the difference, and the money would still help me eventually. The betrayal burned cold, then hot. Lila, I'm paying your tuition directly to the university. Nothing else. They'll be furious, she whispered. With me, not you, I assured her. I'm making sure your education is secure. I spent the evening documenting everything, creating a journal of family patterns, saving emails in organized folders, recording legally notified phone conversations, organizing past financial support records. Each piece built a fortress against denial. The university paperwork required only a few fields: my information, Lila's student ID, payment amount, and designation. Instructions. I typed carefully, $60,000 for tuition only, no third-party access or redirection permitted. My finger hovered over the submit payment button, trembling slightly. The screen glowed in my darkened apartment, illuminating the choice before me. 22 years of trained compliance battled against newfound clarity. Am I ready for what comes next? I whispered to the empty room. The answer came in the steady rhythm of my heartbeat. No longer racing with anxiety, but strong with conviction. I pressed submit. The screen flashed, payment processing. And for the first time in my adult life, I felt truly free. My phone chirped with the university's confirmation email. Payment received. Tuition only. Designation. The words glowed on my screen like a shield, protecting both Lila's education and my sanity. I exhaled slowly, watching Seattle's morning fog roll between skyscrapers outside my office window. For once, I'd protected myself first. The tranquility lasted exactly 27 minutes. Priscilla. Eleanor's voice sliced through my speakerphone, pitched somewhere between accusation and panic. The university says you've already paid Lila's tuition directly. I tapped my pen against my notepad, steady as a metronome. That's correct. Why would you do that without telling us? They won't let us access any of it. Her words tumbled faster. There's the housing deposit, textbooks, her car insurance. The payment covers tuition only, Mom. That's what you asked for in your email. A silence stretched between us, thin and sharp as fishing line. Then Robert's voice joined the call. Of course, he was there too. Priscilla, after raising you to put family first. He paused, voice thickening with practiced disappointment. Why didn't you trust us to handle this? My fingers traced the edge of my desk, memorizing its smooth contour. I trust education. The money is exactly where it belongs. Eleanor recovered quickly. We're having a family meeting this weekend. Everyone's concerned about your attitude lately. Aunt Judy, Uncle Tom, even Grandma Verna. The old Priscilla would have flinched at the thought of disappointing Grandma Verna. The new one checked her calendar. Instead, I have prior commitments, I said, voice level. But I appreciate your concern. You've always made time for family before, Robert said, the accusation unmistakable. Things change. Later that evening, I drafted an email to the extended family, fingers hovering over the keyboard before committing to each sentence. To clarify recent discussions about Lila's education. 1. I've paid Lila's full tuition directly to Woodward University. 2. The payment is specifically designated for educational expenses only. 3. I will not be attending this weekend's gathering, but remain available by phone Tuesday evenings between 7 to 8 p.m. Regards, Priscilla. No justification. No defense. Just facts. The next morning, Marcus dropped by my office, closing the door behind him. His 6 feet 3 inches frame somehow made the space feel safer rather than smaller. Your mother called the office line twice. Yesterday after you left, he said. I'm sorry. Don't be, I replied. Lisa screened her beautifully. He settled into the chair across from me. You holding up okay? I nodded, then reconsidered. Actually, I've been thinking about why they're like this. My parents grew up during the oil crisis, watched their own parents struggle financially. Understanding them doesn't mean you have to keep playing their game, Marcus said. I know, but seeing the pattern helps me stop taking it personally. I straightened a stack of papers on my desk. Still hurts, though. Growth usually does. My phone buzzed with a notification. A voicemail from Eleanor, her voice pitched to carry through walls. The university won't even speak to us. What kind of daughter blocks her parents from helping their own child? After everything we've sacrificed. I saved the message without deleting it. Evidence, not emotional anchor. Robert's email arrived an hour later. You've stolen a family opportunity to support Lila together. Your success was meant to lift all of us. Success they never contributed to. Graduation they never attended. Dreams they never acknowledged. My phone pinged with a text from Lila. You made Mom cry. I don't want your money. The words stung, but I recognized the script. How many times had I rejected something I desperately needed because accepting it meant acknowledging I'd been wronged? The social media barrage started Saturday. Cousin Beth, money really changes people. Uncle Tom, some folks forget where they came from. Small caliber bullets, designed to wound pride rather than kill. Relationship. I turned off notifications and headed to Sarah's apartment, where actual friends awaited with wine and perspective. She opened her door with an understanding smile. The tribunal convening without the accused, she asked, taking my coat. Apparently, I've been tried and convicted of independent thinking. Sarah's apartment buzzed with voices. Our college friend, Diego, my work colleague Vanessa, and Dr. Wilson, who technically shouldn't socialize with clients, but made an exception for what she called a boundary celebration. To Priscilla. Diego raised his glass, who finally learned that family doesn't mean financing. We laughed and something loosened in my chest. Here, nobody's measuring my worth by my wallet. On Monday, a formal letter arrived from Woodward University. Dean Harrison personally thanked me for my generous support of academic excellence. I traced the embossed letterhead, imagining Lila walking those hallways, learning to help others navigate their own family mazes. The call from Aunt Martha came Wednesday morning, catching me during a rare coffee break. I spoke with your mother yesterday, she says, voice lowered, though she lives alone. She claimed you refused to help Lila at all until I mentioned I'd seen the tuition receipt. What did she say then? Change the subject faster than a politician caught with his pants down. Martha chuckled. I'm starting to see what's really happening here. A small victory, but significant. The first family member to question the narrative. The weeks blurred together. Sarah hosted dinners. Dr. Wilson helped me recognize guilt without surrendering to it. Marcus shared stories about his own financial boundaries with siblings. Slowly, these connections filled spaces that obligation once occupied. Friday evening, my phone rang with Lila's number. I answered before I could overthink it. Priscilla? Her voice sounded smaller than usual. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why? Did you specify tuition only on the payment? The question I'd been waiting for. What did Mom and Dad tell you? A pause. That you didn't trust them. Her silence answered before her words. I didn't, but I know patterns. They told me you wouldn't notice the difference. Her voice cracked slightly. They've done this before, haven't they? Many times. By mid-October, cracks appeared in the united front. Eleanor's sister called me directly, bypassing the family switchboard of gossip. Your mother's story doesn't add up, Priscilla. She claimed you abandoned the family, but you're paying for Lila's entire education. Robert texted, not called, a first. Maybe we could have handled this better. No apology, but a hairline fracture in the wall. They argue with each other now, according to Lila. Small disagreements about who said what, who promised what. Control slipping through their fingers like sand. The final text from Eleanor arrived on a Thursday evening while I'm reviewing quarterly projections. If you can't respect our family's ways, perhaps you're not really part of this family. I set down my phone. The threat that once would have shattered me now barely rippled the surface of my calm. They've finally played their last card, the one they thought I feared most. But you can't exile someone who's already found home within themselves. 3 days later, the family intervention proceeded without me. I know because Uncle Frank texted me during the meeting, his message a reluctant courtesy. They're all here talking about you. Your mom's crying. Just thought you should know. I placed my phone screen down on my desk, focusing on the Seattle skyline instead. The rain created rivers on my office window, distorting the view. Fitting. That night, the coordinated email barrage began. First Aunt Helen, family. Means forgiveness, Priscilla. Then Cousin Diane, we're all worried about you. Finally, Uncle Jim, your mother is beside herself with stress. Each message followed the same template. Concern wrapped in judgment. Forgiveness that requires my surrender. I cataloged each one, methodically, saving them to the folder I've labeled Family Pressure Campaign. Mom called at 7 the next morning. I let it ring through to voicemail. Priscilla, honey? Her voice wavers. The doctor says my blood pressure is through the roof from all this stress. I just don't understand why you're doing this to us when all we've ever done is support you. Dad's message followed an hour later. Your success has come at the cost of family values, Pri. We taught you better than this. My jaw tightened. I've run the company financial report twice. Unable to focus. When Marcus knocks on my office door, I startle. Whoa, you look like you're about to break that pen, he says. I glance down at my white knuckles. Family stuff. Still the tuition drama. Marcus perches on the edge of my desk. I thought that was settled. There. Escalating. I hand him my phone, showing a text from Dad that arrived minutes ago. We've talked to Raymond Green about the tax implications of your so-called gift. There may be legal questions about your mental state when making financial decisions. Marcus whistled. Raymond Green? Isn't he that hack lawyer who advertises on late-night TV? Between the Murder, She Wrote reruns and denture cream commercials, yes. A bitter laugh escaped me. They're grasping at straws. What's their endgame here? I lean back in my chair. Control. Money. Take your pick. My phone vibrates with a new message. Lila, can we talk? Mom and Dad say I have to choose between them and your money. I don't know what to do. Something cold settled in my stomach. This is the move I didn't anticipate, using Lila as the final pressure point. You okay? Marcus asks. They're forcing Lila to choose sides. My voice sounds distant to my own ears. Jesus. That's low. I stare out the window. Am I making everything worse? Maybe I should have just written the check and walked away. Marcus shakes his head. Don't do that. This isn't about money anymore. It's about them. Realizing you're not their ATM. But Lila's caught in the crossfire. I tap my fingers on the desk, thinking, I need to see her. Directly. No parents. No pressure. Later that day, the coffee shop sat midway between the university and downtown, neutral territory. I arrived 30 minutes early, securing a corner table where we could talk privately. When Lila walked in, her shoulders were hunched, eyes darting around nervously. Thanks for coming, I say as she slides into the seat across from me. Mom doesn't know I'm here. Her voice is barely above a whisper. I nod. This isn't about them. It's about us. They say you're trying to buy my loyalty. Lila fidgets with a packet of sugar. That you're using your money to control me. That's projection. I keep my voice steady. This isn't about the money, Lila. It's about honesty and respect. Mom says, let me show you something. I open my laptop, turning the screen toward her. These are my calendars from high school through college. The highlighted dates are important events in my life, birthdays, graduations, academic competitions. Lila leans forward, squinting at the screen. The red X marks show which ones Mom and Dad missed. I scroll through. Years of calendars, a sea of red marks. Every science fair. My Stanford graduation. My company launch. But they always said you were the independent one, Lila murmurs. Now look at your calendar. I click to a different file. Your piano recitals. Your spelling bee. Your dance competitions. Notice something? Her eyes widen. They were at all of mine. Every single one. I swallow hard. And I don't begrudge you that. You deserved their support. But so did I. Lila's eyes fill with tears. I didn't know. There's more. I pull out a folder with bank statements. These are transfers I made to help the family while I was in college. Car repairs. Insurance payments. Your summer camp. Lila picks up a statement, hands trembling slightly. $2,500? While you were in school. I worked 3 jobs that semester. They told me your scholarship covered everything. She looks up, confusion etched across her face. They said you had it easy. Now look at these. I slide over printouts of their Facebook posts. Vacation photos from Europe last year. Dad's new truck. The kitchen. Renovation. When did they do all this? After Grandma Wallace died. They received about $75,000. Lila sits back, her face pale. They told me they couldn't help with my tuition because they had no savings. Let me explain something else. I pull out another document. This is IRS. Section 2503E. It makes tuition payments tax-exempt when paid directly to educational institutions. The money I sent is designated for your education only. It can't be redirected. That's why they're so upset, Lila whispers. They can't access it. I nod. The financial office confirmed they tried to have part of it refunded to them. For the roof repair. Lila's voice cracks. They said you wouldn't mind helping with the house too. Something shifts in her expression, the first real recognition I've seen in years. I didn't do this to hurt anyone, I tell her. But I needed to stop a pattern that's been hurting me since I was 16. Lila reaches across the table, her fingers brushing mine. I think I understand now. That evening, I make the call I've been dreading. Mom answers on the first ring. Priscilla? Thank God. We've been so worried. Mom, I need to talk to both of you. Can you put me on speaker? A pause. I'm setting some boundaries, I say, my voice calm but firm. I love you. Both, but love doesn't require submission. Now listen here, Dad begins. No, you listen. My voice doesn't waver. I've documented everything, the missed events, the financial support I provided, the inheritance you received while claiming poverty. I've shared it all with Lila. Silence stretches between us. I won't engage with manipulation anymore. I won't respond to group emails about my character. I won't defend my choices to the extended family. You can't just. Mom starts. I can. And I have. I take a deep breath. My relationship with Lila is separate from my relationship with you. That's non-negotiable. More silence. Then Dad's voice smaller than I've ever heard it. Maybe we've taken you for granted. The words sound dragged from somewhere painful. Mom makes a choked sound. If you want to rebuild our relationship, it starts with respect. I continue. Not obligations. Not guilt. Not money. I end the call before they can respond. My hands aren't shaking anymore. The Seattle skyline glitters with possibility against the October sunset. From my balcony at South Lake Union, the city spreads before me like an affirmation. 2 years have passed since I made that tuition payment. 2 years of rebuilding and rediscovering myself. Gequire's feature sits open on my tablet. MedSync valuation reaches $28 million. How Priscilla Bentley transformed. Patient records. The modern healthcare cover still feels surreal. Success tastes different now. Less like validation and more like vindication. My apartment reflects the change. Gone is the sterile minimalism that once mirrored my emotional barricade. Now warm textiles and rich burgundy drape across my sofa. Photographs of friends line the hallway. And fresh flowers brighten the kitchen counter. Light pours through uncovered windows I no longer hide behind. The phone rings. Lila's name appears on the screen. Our monthly calls have become a ritual neither of us expected. My finger hesitates for only a moment before answering. How's my favorite counselor? I ask. Exhausted, Lila laughs. First-year clients think I have all the answers. Welcome to adulthood. Silence stretches between us. Comfortable now, where it once felt like accusation. I was looking through old pictures yesterday, Lila says finally. Her voice drops. That? Birthday? When you turned 16. I remember Mom telling me you were fine with staying home because I had a cold. My chest tightens, then releases. The memory no longer cuts as it once did. I used to think you were cold, Lila continues. But now that I'm paying my own bills, facing my own choices, I get it, I finally get it. Get what? I ask, though I already know. How much? You gave up? How much they asked of you? She pauses. How much I benefited without even knowing? The weight of her words settles around me like a familiar coat I no longer need to wear. I hope I can be like you someday, she whispers. For the first time, her words feel like recognition, not obligation. Later that evening, I host my own birthday dinner. The table fills with faces that weren't there during those empty childhood celebrations. Marcus, raising a glass to courage without bitterness. Sarah, who flew across the country just to be here. Colleagues who've become confidants. To boundaries, Marcus toasts, his eyes meeting mine with understanding. Candles flicker on the cake they've brought, not a desperate solitary flame in a darkened bedroom, but a constellation of light surrounded by genuine affection. The following week, I stand on the TEDx Seattle stage. Emotional boundaries and family relationships wasn't the talk I imagined giving when I built my company, but it's become the legacy I'm proudest of. The price of peace isn't silence, I tell the audience. It's the courage to speak truth without expecting others to hear it. A young developer approaches me. After my presentation, her eyes reflecting the same hunger for validation I once knew intimately. My parents think my success belongs to them, she admits. How did you find answers? I smile, recognizing my former self. Some questions don't need answers anymore, I tell her. Because peace is the answer. That night, cleaning out old email drafts, I find one from 16 years ago. The subject line: birthday dinner cancellation. The first line reads, Dear Mom, I just wanted to ask, did you forget my birthday? I press delete without reading further. Some questions have lost their power to wound. Mom and Dad still send occasional holiday messages. Brief, civil exchanges that Acknowledge our shared history without pretending the wounds never happened. I no longer measure my worth by their response. The sunset bathes my balcony in amber light when my phone chimes with a text from Lila. Still on for sister dinner next Tuesday? I type back without hesitation. Looking forward to it. In my journal later, I write the truth it took me decades to learn. Family isn't always who you're born to. Sometimes it's who sees you clearly when others look away. The greatest gift wasn't what I gave Lila. It was giving myself permission to be valued.